Is humanity about to become a spacefaring civilization? What if we told you that there are real plans to build an actual city on the moon? NASA is about to make it happen with their new generation of rockets and spacecraft. We're going back to the moon, and this time we're staying. Join us as we look at how NASA will build a city on the moon. You won't believe what they're planning. The United States is on the verge of returning humans to the moon. After decades of robotic exploration, it's finally happening. And when astronauts set foot on the lunar surface once again, they won't be going anywhere near the desolate, lifeless places where the Apollo missions landed in the 1960s and 70s. Instead, they'll be headed to the south pole of the moon. It's here that NASA has selected the first site for our new moon city. But we air it. Well, it turns out there's more to this barren, frozen wasteland than meets the eye. So keep watching as we take you on an exclusive tour of our moon base Alpha. Welcome to the channel. If you're not already subscribed, hit the button to get more videos like this one. We don't have a lot of time to waste. Earth's population is growing by several million people each year, and our cities are filling up fast. The world's leading governments have been scrambling to find ways to house everybody. But what if we could expand our living space off-planet? In the early 2020s, NASA established the Artemis program with the ambitious goal of landing the first woman and the next man on the moon by 2024. They'll be followed by a steady stream of expeditions over the next decade, and it won't be long before the first permanent research station is established. NASA's vision is nothing less than a whole new city on the moon. There's no doubt that we can make it happen. The technology exists today to create a self-sustaining colony of up to 1,000 people who can live, work, and thrive in an alien environment. So let's talk about how we're gonna do it. In order to survive on the moon, we need to solve 3 big problems. First, there's no air to breathe. Second, it's extremely cold, hot, depending on where you are. And third, there's no water or any other resources. So let's take these one at a time. 3D printing with moon dust. Radiation is a constant danger on the moon. Galactic cosmic rays whiz through the vacuum of space and strike the lunar surface with great force. So building a habitat that shields its inhabitants from radiation is a top priority. Right now, we know that the best way to accomplish this is by burrowing beneath the surface. Fortunately, there's an almost unlimited supply of free raw material available. Moon dust. We've all seen those pictures of astronauts kicking up fine dust as they move around on the lunar surface. It looks like flour on a baking sheet. This stuff is called rick, and just like soil on Earth, it can be used as a building material. Of course, we'll need giant 3D printers to do the job. But that's not science fiction. It's already been done on Earth. We've got this covered. Solar energy. NASA is partnering with private companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin to launch the first crewed missions to the moon. They're betting that the reusable rockets being developed by these firms will bring down the cost of space travel dramatically. Imagine a world where flights to low Earth orbit are as routine as commercial airliners fly them today. That's the kind of future that's being planned right now, and solar energy will be key to making it happen. Sustainable life support. The most essential ingredient for human survival is, of course, water. No food, no air, no shelter. We can probably last a few days without water, though. It seems that there's an abundant supply of water ice at the lunar poles, just waiting to be tapped. It can be extracted from the surface using remote-controlled robots, and then it can be purified and used for drinking, for growing food, and for other critical purposes. Oxygen can be extracted from the lunar ring. It's actually quite abundant there. Finally, hydrogen extracted from the same source can be used as rocket fuel. With a little ingenuity, every part of our habitat can be kept sustainable. So far, we've talked about how we'll protect ourselves from harm, how we'll generate power, and how we'll support life. These are the basic needs. But what about the bigger picture? How will our moon city fit into the rest of the solar system? How will it change humanity forever? The city itself will be located at the lunar South Pole. This was chosen because there's so much natural shade provided by towering mountains. It means that our habitat will never be exposed to direct sunlight. And that's important because temperature swings on the moon can be as extreme as 350 degrees Fahrenheit at the poles. The terrain also has permanently shadowed areas where the surface is never exposed to light. Here the temperature stays at a steady 100 degrees Celsius. It's much safer than the equator where daytime temperatures reach 120 degrees Celsius. But how will we go about constructing this incredible city? Building a city on the moon is obviously going to require some really clever engineering, but thankfully, NASA has some pretty ingenious plans. First of all, they're going to start small. The first buildings will probably be constructed using inflatable modules. They'll provide enough room for dozens of people to live in relative comfort. While further construction goes on, eventually, these will be replaced with permanent structures made from using giant 3D printers. Layers of solidified regolith will be laid down, creating thick walls that are incredibly strong and safe. From radiation, each individual cell can be up to 10 stories high. The floor area will be about 1,000 square feet. And each module can house a crew of 4 people. Once we've mastered the basics, we can start thinking bigger. Entire buildings and even artificial caves can be created below the lunar surface. And since we won't have to worry about things like wind or earthquakes, the possibilities for architecture will be endless. Okay, so we've got shelter and power and resources. What about fun? How will people amuse themselves in a moon city? Well, we'll want to keep plenty of games and equipment for recreation, and there will be many opportunities to engage in scientific research. But the real entertainment will come from exploring the lunar surface itself. It's a vast, empty, silent place, and the astronauts who first set foot there described it as utterly captivating. There's nothing on Earth quite like it. So for those who seek adventure, the moon will offer plenty of it. And speaking of exploration, the moon is also an ideal jumping-off point for further adventures throughout the solar system. There are plans for both NASA and SpaceX to use the moon as a refueling depot for flights to Mars. In fact, Elon Musk himself has said that establishing a human presence on the moon would be a logical precursor to colonization efforts elsewhere. It's almost certain that our first city in space will be just the beginning of something much bigger. A new space race. Unfortunately, we can't talk about a future moon city without mentioning the elephant in the room, the USA versus China. For several years, NASA has been locked in a tense competition with the Chinese space program. Both countries have pledged to establish a human presence on the moon before the end of the 2020s. But there's only one winner in this race, so it's clear that the stakes are very high. There's a new space race underway, and the competition is fierce. Companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, and even Tesla have made no secret of their desire to play a major role in colonizing the moon. It's a gold rush mentality, and everyone wants to get their hands on the action. But as we mentioned earlier, NASA is working closely with SpaceX to develop the first crewed missions to the moon, and we're sure that there will be many more partnerships between government agencies and private industry. It's definitely a team effort. Mars is still the big prize, although the moon will be an exciting frontier for many years to come. It's important to remember that it's just a stepping stone to even greater things. Colonization of Mars is still the ultimate prize, and it is only a matter of time before humans set foot on the red planet. The moon will serve as a testing ground for the technologies needed to sustain life on an alien world, and many of the lessons learned will apply directly to the challenges of Martian colonization. That's why we're so excited about this project. It's just the beginning of something truly amazing. As we stand on the threshold of a new era in space exploration, one thing is certain: our moon city will be a beacon of hope for humanity. It will represent the best of our ingenuity, our courage, and our spirit of adventure. Let's just hope that it doesn't become a battleground in a new space war. Now, it's time to hear from you. What do you think about NASA's plan to build a city on the moon? Is this the greatest challenge ever faced by mankind, or a big waste of time and money? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. For those who love space and science, there's always more to explore. We do one long-form essay and one news update every week. If you'd like more, we've got 2 more on the screen for you right now.